So we are Americans, but we moved to Vienna 3 years ago. We are here to do church work and try to start churches, but a large portion of that, especially on the front end, is learning culture and language. And so that's been our job really the first probably year and a half or 2 years, and of course it continues. So
Yeah.
we really just started getting into it about a year ago, where we could actually speak it well
Comfortably.
and
Yeah.
comfortably, and so that's part of the story with Smarter German as well. So it's sort of fun to talk to you right now, because um, going through the program and having that. It's a long story for us. We had visa problems and had to go back to the States. And in that in between time, we were trying to do anything we could to learn German, because we knew we would be coming back here.
Well, and to not lose what we had already learned. We had 5 months of formal Deutsch course, but so, but we had not learned enough to retain really when we weren't speaking it on a daily basis. And so he found the Smarter German kind of as a way to at least hold steady and not lose everything that we had learned up to that point.
That was
So
our hope, yeah. But I really think, honestly, going through as much as we did and coming back, I think it may have had something to do with the fact that we had some foundation already, but also the Smarter German sort of put it in a different perspective, and helped us to understand maybe some of the things that we didn't really understand that we were taught in German
right.
as English native speakers. And so that was really, I'm really thankful for it. So like I said, we're thankful to be able to talk to you.
Well, yeah, I'm thankful. I have occasional meetings like this, yeah, and not only for marketing reasons. When I got time, it's always nice to see who's behind that email that I get, or
Yeah,
yeah, uh,
that's right.
and it's usually very interesting stories behind that. Yeah, because some people are forced to live in a German-speaking country, forced, yeah, or they do this because they have a mission almost in a literal way. Yeah, in your case,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there is in German we call that Schicksal, fate. Yeah, there's always a fate behind everyone's presence at the place where they are.
Jackie was asking us what we were using when we were back in America, and I said, honestly, this program that I found, I feel like would be, whether, because some people know that they're coming to a German speaking country maybe 6 months before they get here. And so for them to even go through the program before they arrive,
Right.
would be, I think, would have been able, or would have helped us pass the A1 test immediately when we got here, and
Right.
and then hopefully even more. But I felt like that was something that she needed to know about, because she was our German coach. And so so anyways, she got on it, and then I guess started contacting you. So I'm glad that that
Yeah.
worked out.
The program, though, I think what I found helpful, which you kind of already mentioned it, but having it explained in English, and then when you would have a sentence in German, and then underneath it would say the English words in the German order, because that was one of the things.
That's how our brains work.
Right. That was one of the things that was hard to grasp at first, this new sentence structure. And so I think having the English words in that order just kind of helped train. And then even the things like the songs, like I still think about the endings for the Der die Das.
Yeah.
And But yeah, so I think that what was most helpful was the English explanations. So just having it explained more fully in a way that we couldn't understand, like we could understand in a German class, but having the funnel through English kind of helped that extra, I don't know, nuance of understanding. So
yeah, I think a couple of quick things for me are the word associations. So understanding a certain amount is very similar to English, and just your direction in associating the German words to help me remember what they are was really helpful, and is really helpful still, because I still use that. And then the Wiederholen, so just that it's repeated so much, and so each lecture or session is you read through the paragraph 10 times or whatever it may be, and to at that point really understand it. I think going to a German course, you get so much information and you're not able to really digest it all. And so in this, it was for me only the things that were needed. And I think many times in a German class with others, so with other classmates, they may ask questions that you already know, or maybe are past that level or whatever else, but you have to, and that's okay. But in this program, it was helpful to really go at my pace and understand what I was doing, because it was, again, repeated again and again, and then I could move on to the next level. So those were the things, again, that I really enjoyed and liked. The songs were helpful and memorable for, and the understanding that there are actually rules that most of the nouns fit into. And so that is also really helpful, because they don't say that. You just think in the first 5 months of German course that you just have to memorize every single word in their article, and that's okay too, I think. But yeah, I think that those were good aspects. And then for us, again, putting it into practice. So our company wants us to learn the language as quickly as possible and efficiently as possible, but so that we're also here for the long term. They want us to really feel like we can be here long term, and in order to feel that way, they know that learning the language quickly is a helpful tool to help someone feel like they can stay in a place long term. And so that is also the thing with just going through and getting through as much as possible information as possible. And again, another thing about the program, about Smarter German, is that it's not, let's cover every single regel or rule that's needed, but you sort of pick those things up along the way as you're going through the program. So that was really helpful.
I'll tell you a secret, you don't need any rules. So the rules are really there to please your mind and also for you to be able to monitor what you say. So if you know you made a mistake, you can learn from it. If you don't realize it, difficult to learn, right? But rules per se are unnecessary. Yeah. And so you learn everything you need, but there's so much more people show learners, which I don't understand. Yeah, so many things. But it's with everything, right? So there's a habit, there's a tradition, and people just do it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's such a simple thing, but really the articles, they still, I mean, it's still something that does not come quickly to me, and I'll catch myself. And we've talked about it before. He jokes that sometimes he'll just mumble like duh, to kind of fake it to get through. But yeah, because that's a simple thing, but especially at the beginning, I was so frustrated by that. Just why can't I just say something and not have to know? And then you get into the tenses and it's a whole different story. So I think and English has this too, of course, but all the irregularities with verb forms and past tense that don't follow the rules, and you just have to be around the language enough to learn those, I think. Because again, charts don't help. I have books that have charts of all those that you just are supposed to memorize, and it doesn't help. But and this goes back to the program a little bit too, but my personal the way that has helped me the most personally with the language is reading, and that's just the way that I learn, generally speaking. I'm a big reader. Nice. But that has been the single most helpful thing in feeling comfortable in the language, but also building my vocabulary, because I'll be talking and I'll say a word that I didn't realize consciously that I had learned, but I had read it in context and understood it, and then it's there ready for me to use. So I like that aspect of Smarter German as well, that you use that as a tool for teaching. Well, I started with, I think the first one that I read was Dr. Dolittle. So, children's chapter book. And then the next thing I read was the Harry Potter series.
Well done.
I still have not finished all of them. And when I started with number 1, it might take me 10 or 15 minutes to get through a page to really understand it. But I found it helpful to read things that I had already read and enjoyed in English.
Yes.
So that I could follow and not feel discouraged if I didn't understand what I was reading right away, because I knew the story well enough to get the idea of what I was reading. So I found that very helpful. And audiobooks too. I mean, same concept, different mode, but just hearing it. I got a tip at one point that said audiobooks can be helpful, but it's not as people speak. It's a very formal.
Yeah, I was very critical in the beginning and very strict with things. Nowadays, I think just listen. But there is a difference. And if I personally fall asleep with audiobooks, after 2 minutes, seriously. So if there's an audio play, and one of my favorite in English was Lord of the Rings and The Hitchhiker's Guide. Fantastic plays. So you're just listening, you're just immersed. Yeah. So even better than a movie, especially in these two cases.
Yeah. Austria, from what we've heard, we haven't been in Germany much, and so but we have colleagues in Germany, and so the Aussprache is definitely quite different, and so that's part of, honestly, that's part of language learning that you just don't get in any course or that type of thing. I mean, to a certain extent, but yeah, I think for us, we immersed ourselves with the people. So we just went out to be with the people wherever they were. And so yeah, our company tells us, look, if you need a repair, or
or you need to know where to buy this type of sugar, or
yeah,
to ask someone who lives here, like not to ask another American.
Yeah, or obviously, and that goes back to yeah, the sort of the rigorous schedule is that we were basically told to not speak in English throughout the week, and then on the weekends we could do so, maybe a little bit, or watch a movie in English or something. But and so yeah, so for Becca and Mark at the time, but with both kids, you all would go to the parks or cafes. We would go out to the cafes, or even just Catholic. The Catholic religion and culture is still very big, and so we would go to a Catholic mass or something that is really connected to the culture here in Austria, like a fest, a street party, or something like that. And again, just ask questions and talk to the people. So I think
you say just,
yeah.
but it's not that easy, right? So you have
Right,
you have a kind of a purpose at least, or some kind of connection on that level. But
well, I think it's to our advantage that we're foreigners. So when we start talking, people know that we're not from here, and so, hey, what do you do? And it was a little awkward in the beginning, obviously, but they would switch to English, and then that's another thing that people suggested to us: answer back in German. So like their English is better than our German, especially in the beginning, because we're saying 3-word sentences, and they want to speak in English, but we would say, we're really trying to learn the language. It's very helpful to us if we can just practice with you. And then from there, it's kind of an open door for friendships. They would invite me with our son over for a play date or whatever, and we would speak in German. And so a lot of culture came from things like that, just being with people and seeing how they, how do they phrase certain things, and how do they react to, I don't know. But also, we were connected with a church here from when we first came, and they also invited us into their homes. And so part of culture there was, how do Austrians do hospitality, and, the cafe and Kuchen time, and you go over for lunch at 1:00 in the afternoon, and you don't leave until almost dinner time, and that's very different from American culture, which is very fast. You don't you don't want to overstay your welcome, and so you come for lunch and you leave, an hour and a half or 2 hours later. And so, yeah, I think very simply just being with people. Yeah. I think it also helped us. So if we take church and children out of the equation, so like those are kind of natural connectors, and that's what made it easy for me, I think, because I was with the kids more. So Phil found it harder to make those connections, but what worked for him was to go to the same places over and over again. So pick out 2 or 3 different shops or cafes that, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but that you go in regularly so that they know your face and they know who you are. And they know that we're foreigners there as well. And so there's a little bit of interest there. It feels a little more mutual that way, you know, because they're asking questions about our culture and what we're here to do and how are things different and things like that. But we can also learn from them. So one in particular was he owned a cafe, and it was sort of a cafe and gift shop. And so Phil would go in there every couple of weeks, and it wasn't a place that was super busy all the time, and just kind of struck up a friendship with him. And
it is important to respect them and their business as well. So if they're busy, to not just sit and chat. So
well, and to support their business. I mean,
yes,
again, we didn't want to spend a ton of money, but to show them that you're invested and want to be part of their success as well, because they are helping you, especially with the language. When they take time to be patient with your slow language, you know, they're helping you, and so you can help them by supporting their business.
I mean, we starting from ground zero with German, we felt like toddlers. We felt like little children just trying to use 5 words. And again, that's why using Smarter German, even when we were back in the States, I met with anyone that spoke any German at all in my area, and just so that I could use those words. And again, I think that was so helpful to, okay, I've gone through this lesson. Let me take this phrase, or, you know, these few things that I was taught or learned here, and just use them with my friend here. So, yeah.
Oh, nice, very nice. So what the question I remember now. So what level would you say you are at? Because you're still learning German, right?
For sure.
We've passed the B2 exam, like the formal exam. But
right, so we did that
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so we did that. Yeah.
Wir hätten auf Deutsch sprechen können die ganze Zeit.
Genau.
Ja, genau. Yeah, this is a magic word, right?
Yeah.
we wondered, we were like, is he going to ask us to prove our German skills? Because then you would have really seen what we've learned. But
and if you want to, we can for a few minutes. But
yeah, it would be nice to see always. It's not about proving anything. It's I know it's a little bit awkward always, but it's always nice for people watching this as well. What does it mean? Yeah, like being B2, for example, or after all this pain you've gone through.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ja, schön. Aber wie viel Prozent am Tag sprecht ihr denn Deutsch im Moment?
Also zu Hause reden wir nie auf Deutsch. Also wir reden beide nur Englisch. Also und wir finden es wichtig für unsere Kinder mit der Muttersprache, dass sie Englisch hören. Aber draußen, also wie viel Prozent? Weiß ich nicht.
Auf jeden Fall, ja. 70%, denke ich. Mit den Kindern, ja, nie, aber, oder sehr wenig, aber ja.
Habt ihr das mal probiert, mit den Kindern Deutsch zu reden? Just for fun?
Ja, aber sie mögen das nicht. Sie sagen, Mama, wir reden zu Hause nur auf Englisch.
Genau.
Ihr wisst, das ist normal, ne? Kinder mögen das nicht.
Ja.
Aber ist klar, warum. Ne?
sie lernen auch gerade im Kindergarten.
Ja.
Also es ist auch gut, dass sie 2 Sprachen gleichzeitig lernen können.
Ja. Schön. Ja, ich höre das immer wieder. Weil die Kinder haben ein Bild von dir. Ne? Wenn Mama plötzlich eine andere Sprache spricht oder Papa, das ist ungewohnt. Das ist nicht, ist nicht schön für die Kinder. Immer wieder. Ja? Und dann sagen sie, du sprichst nicht so gut.
Ja. Aber Sie wissen, wenn jemand kommt zu uns, der Deutsch spricht, dann reden Sie mit Ihnen Deutsch. Also Sie können das. Es ist nur, wenn es nur uns als Familie ist, das geht nicht.
Schön.
Ja.
Echt schön, aber es ist so ein schönes Niveau, was ihr habt. Ja? Also ihr könnt eine normale Unterhaltung führen.
Ja.
Hat sich gelohnt, die Arbeit. Ja, was worth it.
Ja.
Schön. Und wie viele Stunden am Tag lernt ihr im Moment noch Deutsch?
Also formal lernen.
Nichts mehr.
Du schaust Videos an, oder?
Ja, genau. Und lese ich wahrscheinlich 30 Minuten pro Tag immer auf Deutsch und probiere ich ab und zu einen informalen Kurs zu machen. Aber genau, also zum Beispiel mit Smarter German gehe ich immer zurück und probiere ein paar neue Abschnitte oder so zu lesen und ein paar Wörter zu lernen. Genau.
Ja, und Entschuldigung.
Ja, aber ich gehe immer raus und bin immer ins Gespräch gegangen mit Leuten und das finden wir wichtiger momentan, dass wir unser Sprechen üben.
Das formale Lernen kommt irgendwann zu einem Ende. Ja? Also B2 und dann ist für 90% der Leute Schluss. Und dann, wenn du studieren möchtest oder Mediziner bist, dann ist C1 interessant. Ja? Und auch B2, geh raus und sprich und lerne. Aber es ist gut, immer wieder noch zu lesen und zu schauen. Ja? Also formal habe ich Englisch auch nicht bis C1 gemacht. Ja? Noch nicht mal bis B1. Ja. So, also, und heute mache ich mein Leben mit Englisch. So. Also es ist nicht nötig, es hilft nur, aber ja, schön. Aber es ist schön. Das ist perfekt. Und wie lange bleibt ihr jetzt in den USA und wann kommt ihr wieder zurück?
Also wir bleiben 6 Monate und dann, also hoffentlich Juni. Also es hängt davon ab mit Corona und wer weiß, aber das ist die Hoffnung. Ich hoffe, dass im Sommer, also die Zahl ist wieder runter und
Sehr wahrscheinlich.
Ja.
Und es gibt Impfungen und should be okay. Ja.
Genau.
Schön.
Ja.
Wir bringen viele deutsche Bücher mit, also auch Kinderbücher. Schön. Kennst du diesen Tipptoy-Stift?
Ja.
Ja, also das hilft auch. Viele Lieder.
Genau. Die Kinder lernen immer Lieder sehr schnell. Ja.
Mit diesem Stift?
Ja.
Genau.
Die Lieder kannte ich nicht. Ich weiß, was das macht, ne? Aber mein Kind ist zu groß. Mit 19 spielt er nicht so gerne mit Tipptoy.
Ja, ganz klar. Aber ja, jetzt haben wir ein paar Kinderliederbücher und die machen das gern, ja.
Schön.
Ja.
Wenn eure Kinder älter werden, dann schreibt mir noch mal. Es gibt sehr, sehr schöne deutsche Kinderbücher, aber das ist ein higher Level. Also für euch B2 super. Ja. Und aber für die Kinder total schön. Ja? Witzig und schön. Sehr, sehr schöne Bücher. Ja. Ich habe das genossen, meinem Sohn vorzulesen.
Ja.
Ja. Mal schauen.
Yeah.
Schön. Yeah, just the final in English, but thanks you to the German was beautiful. We could have done it in German.
Yeah,
But it's always intimidating, I understand.
yeah. Sorry, we should have said something at the beginning.
No. I want, this is for beginners. I want beginners to see where you can get, and I will translate everything, or we'll have everything as subtitles if someone finds the time to do that. But
Okay.
it was nice and impressive and lovely to see. And also what I like is to share, like, who are the people that learn German, why are they doing this, and then I think you shared that really nicely. Thank you for that.
We did homework after they went to sleep.
Yeah, so we actually switched off. I would go in the morning to Deutsch course, and then Becca would go in the afternoon, and we would switch off, taking care of Mark and then both boys, and we were able to get a babysitter for a while for Becca to do some private tutoring, but yeah, that was definitely a time because I was also doing a master's studium, and so it was a lot of writing and you know, a lot of stuff all at once. But and then my master's studium ended, and we completed Be zwei, and then we were like, what do we do now? We don't have time. So yeah, it was nice though. And again, yeah, I think just to say, go back and repeat, but say again that I think we would not have been able to get, especially as fast or as quickly, to Be zwei without the Smart German program and being able to go through that, so that when we came back to Austria, we skipped a level that we didn't even take before, and were able to really get started at, I think it was what, Be1, zwei, or yeah, I think so.
So for me, doing the private tutor was just because when we came back to Austria, our youngest was 2 months old. So I just wasn't able to go for the same amount of time. But honestly, I think I got more from a private tutor than he got, because I only went 4 hours a week and he was going 15. But I think,
yeah.
well, no, he was still doing Deutsch course.
I was doing Deutsch.
Okay. I was wondering because that was a fortune.
Yes, no, that would not have worked. Yeah.
Right. So I had 4 hours of private tutor, but clearly it's tailored and you can go at the pace that you need to. So
we'll definitely continue to use Smarter German, especially to be able to look at the Be zwei content. So that would be great.
Yeah, we'll definitely use that while we're back in America, because that's still one of our fears. It's not as crucial as it was the first time when we were brand new, but especially when you're not speaking regularly, that's sort of the first thing that falls off, is the speaking. So you know, we can read and listen, but the speaking is okay. Anyway, it'll be helpful to have that to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Now, you know, there's a couple of techniques you can use to at least talk to each other for a couple of minutes a day. That's more than enough to keep things fresh, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. But I still didn't get, Phil, why you switched to an online format when you had classes. What happened? Like, why did you just change?
So I did the in class, actually, Deutsch course when I came back for another 4
or 5 months.
4 months or so, and so it was all in class at that point for me, and then what really helped, again, just to do the Be zwei Prüfung was a Vorbereitungskurs. So I don't know really you know, at that point, I felt like we probably weren't barely at B2, but that was really helpful as well. But you know, I did the online stuff just in addition to what I did in the Deutsch course. So
Okay, makes sense. So that also works. Interesting to see. Yeah,
yeah,
but if there's a preparation course, you should definitely take that because it makes a difference. Yeah,
it did. Yeah,
taking exams is a whole different matter.
that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be B2 in order to crack a B2 exam. That's absolutely clear. But it helps if you have some expertise, of course.
That's right. That's right. The speaking portion especially was really helpful to understand what we were going to have to do, or at least practice it a number of times before doing it. So,
Sure. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing all this. Yeah, it's a pleasure, and thank you for taking the time. And
of course.
yeah,
It's obviously been a big help for many of us.
Yeah, exactly. I think our company will continue to use Smart German, and especially, like I said, for those that are coming onto the field fresh. So
yeah. I'm happy to hear that. You know, you create something and you actually want it to be helpful, right? So it's really nice to hear that. It's a really nice confirmation, and I'm happy to have met the missionaries, I call you. Yeah, that's
yes. We don't use that word, but yes, exactly. Yeah, no, it's no problem.
Yeah, no, I like that, and also, as I said, Jackie, the conversations were always quite nice and entertaining. So I like that, and also some in German even. I think we'll have also C1.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we'll see, but no, it's.
Have a wonderful time, safe time back in the States. Yeah, tricky times as far as I can read.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we're gonna try to figure out what's going on over there.
Good luck with that. That's
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Have a lovely evening, and yeah, hug your kids and enjoy. Yeah.
All right.
Abend.
Yeah.
Thank you. Schönen Abend euch auch. Ja. Alles Gute. Tschüss.